Okay, go ahead.
Okay, welcome everybody to this snowy night. We will call the, sorry, I didn't check the time, pardon me, meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. to the February 2nd, 2022. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at the agenda? Okay, any changes, additions, adjustments, anything? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the agenda? Dustin, Bert? All right, everyone in favor? Perfect. Okay, approval of the agenda. Oh, what, you know what, what's not on here? Oh, there we go. He's got it in a different order. Sorry. Excuse me. If anyone finds themselves in pickle as we move along and you have any pecuniary interest, speak now or speak later, but just let us know. There's nothing on the agenda, I don't think, at this point. All right. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? We have two sets of minutes. Nope, draft. Sorry, it's on here twice. Pardon me. The draft minutes from January 5th, 2022. Did everyone have a chance to look at them? Any questions, concerns, changes? Okay, so we'll get a motion to accept the minutes from January. Don't everyone jump at once. Bert? Heather? All right, perfect. Everyone, that's passed. All right, any business arising from the minutes? No. Okay, correspondence. No correspondence that we have on the agenda. There was a little piece that kind of came through, and Trish will talk about it very briefly, and then we'll move it to correspondence. We'll add it to next month's agenda so that we can discuss it a little more thoroughly and everyone has a chance to look at all the information. All right, Perth County Economic Development, Tourism. Justin, oh, there you are. Welcome this snowy night.
Hi there, thanks everyone. Through the chair, good evening everyone. So yeah, included in the agenda was our latest Perth County newsletter. This is a format that we had done previously in the past. Got away from it a little bit during the pandemic, but are now returning to kind of quarterly-ish updates with some of the relevant information that's important to the business community. So it is in your agenda packet. I'll just kind of draw your attention to a few of the key points. Some of this is kind of stuff I've updated on this committee at the last meeting. But a few things I wanted to bring to your attention. Our Discover More Adventures programs. This is our experiential tourism program that is recruiting members now for the 2022 uptake. So you'll see there a couple of different of the adventures, Huckleberry Highs, TLC Alpaca, and a few others there. So we're looking to add more adventures to this program, add more experiences as part of our Discover More Adventures experiential tourism program. As you can see, the program has a lot of benefits to members who participate. One-on-one coaching with a tourism development expert, professional video and photography packages, some social media advertising, inclusion in our county Discover More Adventures programming. So there's quite a few advantages to being a member of this program. There is no charge. It is a program that we're just looking for interesting and businesses that have that experience to offer and willing to develop that with us. So anybody who is interested, please do contact our tourism development officer, Ashley Brocklebank. Her email is included in the agenda there. And as I mentioned, this is something that we're looking to recruit new experiences for 2022. So the sooner you reach out, the better. Our digital service squad. So this is our digital service squad member, Eileen, who has been supporting businesses across the county for the last little while. I know she was recently in Mitchell doing some 360-degree photos for some businesses downtown, and will continue to be doing that. We do have Eileen until the end of February, so if you are a business downtown looking for digital support, looking to get a 360-degree photo, or just looking to find out how you can up your digital game, please reach out to Eileen sooner than later, because as I mentioned, we do only have her currently until the end of the month. There's our standard information about the PC Connect included in the newsletter. Our Discover More Flavor program, I think I mentioned at the last meeting, but this is also a tight timeline in terms of getting your farm gate in our 2022 maps. So there's a deadline here for February 28th for new businesses to be added to the printed map. Of course, our digital map, you can be added at any time, but if you do want to get, if farm gates do want to get added to the printed map, we have a deadline on February 28th, just to make sure that we can turn that around and get it printed for this coming season. Again, this program is also free of charge, and what it offers to interested businesses is a variety of things, including being included on our maps, of course, featured on our social media accounts. And there's a number of different signage pieces that come along with being a member. So you'll see some in the pictures in the newsletter. There's a kind of pinup sign, signage that goes on the 911 sign style signs, welcome mats, brochures. So it's really a beneficial program for any farm gate to increase your visibility, and of course is free of charge. So again, this is a program that actually our tourism officer is running. So if you have interest, there's her contact information is available in there, as well as an online form where you can submit your information. We're currently recruiting for summer students. It doesn't seem like summer is a far time away on a night like tonight, but we do tend to recruit early because we know students are looking to lock up those opportunities. So we were hiring 2 summer students this year, a tourism marketing summer student and a destination development student. Those job postings are live. I don't know the exact date of when they close, but I believe there's at least a week or 2 more left. So please forward that to any folks who are looking for opportunities in Perth County to be part of our tourism summer student team. Other than that, there's just a lot of other resources in terms of kind of what's available in the county for businesses. So I won't spend any time really going over that. They're all in the brochure. And as mentioned, this is something we're kind of returning to after a bit of a hiatus. So if there are relevant topics that or services, programs that you think we should include in a future newsletter, please do let us know so we can make sure we're sharing that with the businesses across the county. And with that, I will welcome any questions.
Okay, seeing none, thank you again for joining us tonight, Justin. Always informative. It's nice to see the work. It's hard to think about summer with the snow outside, but I'm excited for summer. So, all right. If there's nothing else for Justin, we'll move on to Jeff. Jeff has a couple of quick updates for us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'll add a couple of updates, and then Sherry, if you have anything else to add, jump on afterwards and fill in whatever else you want to mention from the municipality. So first of all, I want to mention that the Economic Development newsletter from the West Perth Economic Development Committee has been put out in the last week. It went out by Canada Post ad mail. So lots of people got it within the first day or 2, but I did talk to somebody on Jordan Crescent today who hasn't received it yet. So they're not all distributed. We did send them to 4,000 households roughly, and that's a different approach for us. But the decision was essentially made that that this economic development well-being of Perth County and some of the big topics, including housing, the availability of different types of housing, are as important to people that are residents as they are to businesses. So we expanded that audience significantly. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that newsletter in general terms. If you have specific things you'd like to follow up, that would be great. But I really want to draw your attention to the bottom of the first page of the newsletter, which I'm going to share. I don't even know if did I share the right screen. Are you able to see that, you guys? One thumbs up. Good, thanks. At the bottom, we've got the you're invited thing. The Economic Development Committee would normally do a business breakfast. And of course, last year that would have been in November. We just couldn't do it because of COVID. This past November, we chose not to do it again and decided to go with a newsletter to review the previous year and a virtual meeting. So the virtual meeting has been, and for those of you that have the newsletter or you see it digitally, because it'll be going around digitally, we'll be actively promoting it on socials. You just click in this area down here and you can register for the online or the virtual meeting. And we're going to have a number of guest speakers speak about economic development topics. We won't go over everything that's in the newsletter, but certainly we'll be able to answer any questions if there are about the newsletter for those that attend. And this is a little more targeted towards a business audience. So we'll be asking Trish to promote this to the BIA through the newsletter, and we'll see if we can get 30 or 40 people out to a virtual meeting. I know everyone's zoomed out, but sometimes they work. So I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. Good. Which is good. So thanks everyone. I'm going to stay on. I'm not sure if I'll stay right till the end of the meeting, but and Sherry, did you want me to talk about Secretary Services now or later?
Why don't we just do that in your update? And if you don't mind, just because this is BIA and it will be pertinent as the information comes out, do you want to touch really briefly on, and maybe not, the fundraising update for the Pavilion? Which will be circulating, and just because this is business and business owners, I think this might be a good place to slide that in.
Sure, absolutely. So also in the newsletter, there's an article about infrastructure renewal in West Perth, and BIA has been updated several times as we've gone through some pretty major infrastructure projects in this cycle of renewal. One of the featured piece that's in the newsletter is the Pavilion, the multi-use pavilion and trail, accessible trail that we're going to establish in Ketterson Park. Two little updates on that. One, it's an approved project. We've got quite a bit of grant money supporting that project, around the 70% grant. And it's great news for Mitchell, and we certainly need a new pavilion, and those barns need to be replaced. And the idea of a multi-use pavilion to support the fair, but also to support non-organized sport like basketball and things like that that are more inclusive for everyone is really an exciting thing. Part of that project had a $250,000 local fundraising goal. So staff have developed a fundraising package, a sponsorship package, which we had council approved last week. We're just getting it buttoned up. We're on some final design things with the design engineer. And I anticipate that that fundraising page will go live, and we'll start to promote it in the next couple of weeks. And so there's opportunities for recognition from $100 right up to naming of the pavilion, which is a sponsorship that's quite high. So everything from donations to sponsorships, there's a full package of fundraising that will be becoming available to the public. And we think that it's something businesses will want to support and get some recognition and pour back into the community. So. And if there's no questions about that, I want to just talk about secretary services then. So we sent an email out to the BIA board just to indicate that we were going to move to a system of providing the BIA with board secretary services from a staff person out of the clerk's department. So what we've done is we've made some adjustments to staffing in the clerk's department. And as a part of that process, we made adjustments to Kristen's position to provide more support in the clerk's department. And I want to mention that regrettably, Kristen has taken a job with the County of Perth, Kristen Drost, who's helped us a few times. So, we have to celebrate those things. We have entry-level jobs for a reason. Sometimes people can hang on and move through the organization, and sometimes you lose them to other places, but that's the reason for good entry level and strong organizational structures. So it's not a bad thing when these things happen always, and it's a dream job for Kristen. So we certainly wish her well. That's the recruitment that we're doing right now. And then Labica Blazovic, who's on the in looking after the meeting tonight, was promoted to deputy clerk. And the concept here is that we want to standardize agendas and support for minutes, and we want to have the clerk's department provide the support out to the other departments. And in our organization, the clerk's department is a service department. It provides services to other departments, and by letting the technical staff focus on their duties and have the clerk's department look after agendas, minutes, and meeting coordination and governance for committees, it can allow the technical staff to focus on their skill sets and not do that work. So it's an opportunity for us to kind of take that expanded clerk's department and have all the departments and committees benefit from it. So that's the plan. Dan, and we have to take an opportunity to take a shot at Dan tonight, because Daniel Hobson, who's the clerk, was agreed that he would look after the BIA, because we're trying to spread out the evening meetings so Levica doesn't get them all. And then Dan promptly had a conflict with this first meeting, which Levica and I are going to make him pay with coffee for the next little while. So Levica is covering him. So normally you'll see Dan, and you'll get an opportunity to meet Dan as well, who's a fairly new staff person. And both of these folks are really competent at their jobs. And I think this is a great support that we can provide to the BIA. And again, I think it'll free up some time for Trish to be more boots on the ground, and it'll get more value for the BIA, because you'll be able to get more from Trish doing technical work rather than agendas and minutes. So that's the plan. And I'm happy to answer questions about that if there are any.
Just a quick that I clarified with Dan, just in case it crosses anyone's mind. The changing of the more secretarial service does not have a financial impact for the BIA.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I double checked that with Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great question, and I should speak to that, in that many municipalities keep a very tight ledger of the services that they provide for the BIA and the services that they provide outside the BIA. So BIA pays full cost recovery. We're not, the economic well-being of Mitchell, the part of the BIA, the support that comes from the municipality and is not charged to the BIA, is economic development driven, and it drives the engine of the community. So that's completely justified. So it doesn't affect your budget. And again, it's about putting the resources in the right spot. And that's not necessarily with the positions, it's with the skills that sometimes cross into other departments. And that's a philosophical change that I'm trying to lead in management, that just better deploys staff. So.
Okay, that's great. Is there any other questions on that for Jeff, or anything else any burning questions about the municipality? Okay, thanks, Jeff. We'll move on.
Thanks,
Trish, 7.3. We'll start with Family Day virtual concert.
Perfect. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to give an overview of the concert and what has been discussed with Skyline Studios. And then Dustin can jump in if that's okay, unless you want to start, Dustin. It's completely up to you.
Nope, you go for it first there, Trish, and I'll just add anything that I think needs to be added.
Okay, perfect. So I did reach out to Dustin to obtain a quote on what it would look like if we had a concert family day weekend. All together with the performances and Skyline services, our fee to stream, everything was going to come into a little over $1,000. So, and that did not include advertising. So I worked with Dustin to kind of adjust the budget a little bit to see what we could arrange to lessen it while getting advertising exposure in there as well. So a few performers have kind of been put on hold. They weren't asked from his list, and they'll be asked if we have another one in the future. So currently the concert is scheduled for Saturday, February 19th at 6 p.m. It's going to be live on our Facebook page again. And I was able to talk with the advocate. We're going to spend $250 in advertising, but they've thrown in a bunch of free stuff. So usually the $250 could go a long way with a couple ads, but we're going to run a digital campaign, which I think would be most beneficial, since we kind of just hammered out all the details for the concert in the last few days, Dustin and I. So it's been tough to promote. So digital is going to hit our people quicker, and then we're going to put a couple quarter page ads in and an earlug, but again, those are no charge from the advocate. We've got our $100 BIA buck contest, and then about $250 in performers. So that's 4 sets of performances. Skyline Studios services was increased by $50 compared to our last concerts. And then the streaming service is $50, and then the location rental was an estimate. So Dustin may be able to talk more to that, but currently the budget's at about $1,257 all in. That's everything said and done. So
That's what advertising there too, Trish.
that's with advertising.
Yeah. What did I put there on the chart for the location?
225 as an estimate.
Think so. I booked Mike's place. I was debating on booking the Crystal Palace, but that was going to be a lot of work. So I'm just going to go with Mike's place because he's already got everything set up there. I think he's $75 an hour. He's $70 around. So
yeah, the 225 equated to what we've paid him the last couple concerts.
Yeah, and we've usually spent anywhere between 2 to 4 hours in there. So 225, I think, was a pretty good rough estimate.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that was 3 hours there or something.
Yeah, let me just double check that. Yeah, that's the 3 hours there. So yeah, that's just using Mike's Hall for the 3 hours. But yeah, I don't know what there is to add. We got the 4 performers. We got Randy's going to be kind of like our headliner. And then we got Madison, Bell. We got the Nine House family back again. And then I booked Kira Garrican again. Now, for budget purposes, I had taken her off. But I've been talking to her and she wanted some exposure anyway. So she's going to do it pro bono.
No, I didn't take that off of the budget. So I still included that $50 that would be coming out of our budget. So instead of $1,257, it would be $1,207 if we don't pay her. But I think she should be paid.
But yeah, if we want to pay her, that would be nice.
I think she should, but that's for the board to decide. And unfortunately, I think with you and Sherry having to declare pecuniary interest, I don't think we would have enough to vote on that tonight. So
that's okay. There's no rush on that.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, and actually, I'm waiting to hear back from Jim Kelly. I sent him an email, I think about a week ago, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So if Jim does not want to host it, we'll have to brainstorm quickly to see who we could find to host it. I'm sure I'll know in the next day or two. If he doesn't get back to me by this weekend, I'll do a follow-up. And if he doesn't get back, then we'll do some brainstorming.
Okay. Perfect. So that's basically the virtual concert coming up. Does anyone have any other questions on it? Did we miss anything? Okay. The next item I have is associate membership. So we've had another new associate member join. They're up live on our website, and I think the announcement is scheduled on Facebook for tomorrow. So Cass's Custom Detailing reached out to join. She's extremely excited to be part of the BIA, actually. And I think she's been pondering it for a while, but just hasn't made that jump. So she's very excited to join. So she's already on our email list, the website. It's just the announcement will come out tomorrow. We do have one associate member, like I mentioned last month, that hasn't paid from 2021. And so finance asked about, kind of writing that off at the books, but I had them up on the website and did some other advertising that included them. So I've asked finance to follow up and get that money. I don't want to see that go undone. And then all of our associate memberships will be invoiced in April, as we do every year. And then I think we'll go back to the 30-day payment terms unless something catastrophic happens with the pandemic, and I'll come to you guys about extending, but I think we'll just stick with our regular terms. For the slogan contest, I'll just pull up the slogans on my screen so that any viewers that didn't see in advance of the meeting can. So we had ran a slogan contest because we're looking for some slogans for our 2022 marketing campaign. These were the submissions that were received by the deadline of Monday at 6 p.m. So I think this MMB actually should be like up here as an acronym. So I think I hit enter by accident. So we've got Market Moving Mitchell Bucks, Shop More of Mitchell Downtown with BIA Bucks, Shop Your Core, Downtown Our Town, Shop Where You Live, Love Where You Shop, A Town Worth Shopping For, A Town Worth Shopping In, and then Shopping in the Heart of the Elephant, which I thought this was really clever because I've never looked at it like that before. But those are the contest submissions that were received. I reached out to Sherry today because I did have somebody that reached out after the deadline. And so because it is a contest that we were running, that if they won, they would get $100 in BIA bucks. If we chose any of those submissions, then I think that we would need to maybe readjust the payment for the contest. So Sherry said to include those tonight. So it was about 21 submissions this person gave. And there are some clever ones on there, actually. Like there are some good ideas. But if we flip back to the contest rules, we'll have to figure that out if we choose to use one of these. So I'm not going to read all of them because there's 21 of them, but if you want to skim them, I'll send them out to the board again. I don't know what you want to do to move forward with the slogan contest.
Sorry. I can't see everyone's. It's okay. You can leave them up for a second.
Okay.
Trish. I'll just make sure you unmute yourself, guys, if you're going to answer me. What are your thoughts?
I like the heart of the elephant. I thought that was kind of clever. It doesn't slip off the tongue very nice at all, but I thought shopping in the heart of the elephant was pretty cool. But that's
kind
just
of fun.
Me. Well, I'm curious how many people actually have seen the elephant for a long time, and how many people have not.
Yeah, I haven't until it was pointed out to me. I didn't even notice.
I'm biased because I've seen the elephant since I was a kid, so I thought that was interesting. I saw that, I was like, someone else sees it too.
That's funny.
So, but that's just a personal one. Is there anything at the bottom there in the second page that was, because you said a few of them were kind of clever. I'm just looking for the clever ones.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of thought like Mitchell, the small town with big opportunity, but like some of them kind of have a ring, but I don't know how they fall into a marketing campaign to promote the downtown. Like I think that's where I struggled with the submissions a bit, is that like these are great ideas, but I don't know how they kind of flow with our Mitchell BIA.
Can you unshare for just a second,
Yeah.
Trish? Thank you. I'm gonna actually, if he doesn't mind, Justin, I'd like to put you on the spot if you're still available there. I'm not sure if you are, but yes. Okay. Because this is more your area of maybe expertise, or your office's area of expertise. When you see some of those, what's the first thing that comes? Like, did any of them? Do you think we should be looking for something with a little more ring, a little more knowledgeable position?
Yeah, I guess maybe my question would be like, where, obviously, like kind of where would this be primarily communicated? Or is it just like you're going to put on everything, all BIA communication going forward, just kind of understanding where will this be deployed?
So the original outline was for radio, because we've had some interest in radio, but when I spoke with one of the Stratford station salesperson, he said, you kind of need like a slogan when you're promoting on radio, and we don't have a slogan. I don't think the BI has ever had a slogan. So then the board wanted to run this contest. So primary idea is for radio, but it would be nice to have, at the top of our newsletter with our logo and on our website, but I just don't know that they align.
I guess the reason I ask is in terms of the elephant, if you're not seeing that, then it's probably not connecting with folks. That's just my own personal thought, but yeah, I don't want to skew the results of the democratic process in terms of what was most popular, but that's just my comment in terms of if you're going to use it for the radio primarily, then maybe the elephant isn't the easiest to understand if you're not privy to that beforehand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good. It's nice to have, we all have things that grab us or like us, but the fact of the matter is it has to be memorable. We're going to put it in print. We're going to use it for, so Do you guys want to mull it over? I see Jeff waving his arms at me here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
for
know I'm not waving my arms, you. My quick advice too is that in my experience with these kinds of contests in the past is that they really give you some creative juices, and you end up sort of feeling like you'd like to combine a couple, or you'd like to or it gives you something that's really close, and then you kind of brainstorm and come up with something. And so I think the BIA has a latitude to select a winner for the contest, but that winner doesn't have to be the exact slogan that you use. It can be the inspiration for the slogan that you use, and you may choose to have two winners and split it or whatever. And you may want some time to mull that over, but I think you wouldn't want to sort of bind yourself to having to choose the exact words of the slogan. I think you can use the spirit or the inspiration to drive your words. So that's my only advice.
That's how we ended up picking the Perth County one. So it wasn't exactly what was submitted, but it was tweaked on the fly.
Okay, so why don't we have when she get tomorrow, or what time that Trish gets to work back on our project, have Trish combine the two together on one page with just maybe a little line underneath with the later submission to the board, and we'll all look at it and mull it over and see if there's anything we think could combine or comes to mind, and we'll come back to it. We'll circle back if that's okay, Trish.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and that gives you time to look at both, as opposed to just we did have the slogan contest submissions on our agenda, but the late admissions later. So this way it comes out in one little email sheet. You can take a look at it. If something jumps out on the two of them, we can move further. Then we're not going to just spend an hour discussing it here in the middle of this meeting, if that's okay with everybody. Any other parts that you want? Okay. All right. The BIA poll banner program.
Oh, sorry, can I bounce back to the
sure.
AGM?
Yep.
Okay. So
sorry, I missed one. That's my mistake. Sorry.
That's okay. I have annual general meeting on the agenda because I just wanted to circle back. Typically, we have held our AGM the third Wednesday of the month, and like we've always kind of gone out of the rotation of the first Wednesday, except last year because we were in the pandemic. So we already agreed on the 2022 dates. We could still have it the first Wednesday, or do we want to have it a bit later in the month to allow, the board and myself to get the word out there to actually get other members to participate versus it just being kind of a standard meeting. We can't do it the third Wednesday, or I don't think we should do it the third Wednesday this year because it is March break. I don't know who all that may affect except for Sherry. Other than that, we can leave it the first Wednesday. The only thing I want to point out is that our budget that I present later is going in draft to council on February 22nd, and then they will vote to approve that March 28th. So we want to make sure we have any final tweaks done to that and have it approved with us before it goes to council. Any thoughts on dates?
Can I just add that
Sure.
our March 28th is the day that we may approve the budget. If we have everything, we will approve it on March the 21st. But the BIA budget that's approved by the board generally is almost like when it's voted on at the annual general meeting, it's very much a kind of a formality. So the budget that you're approving tonight is essentially the budget that you're likely going to bring forward, and the revenue is going to stay the same, I think. And so really, it's if you decided in the mid-year to move things around, we could do that.
Okay. So then, in theory, I guess you could just leave the meeting as is, whatever the board wants.
Yeah, I should clarify what I meant to say, and I kind of got distracted and don't think I said it, is that if we're doing really well with the council budget process, we may not have the March 28th meeting, and I don't know if I made that clear. So, but again, I don't think that should really affect your date, and you want to watch the third Wednesday because it'll be the March break, and while I'm long past that, there's lots of people that aren't. And
I won't be here. I'll tell you now. As a chair, I will be out of town.
So
yeah, that's why I said it might
affect
affect you.
Wednesday. Yeah. So okay.
Board members?
Why don't we just leave it for the first Wednesday of March?
Yep, I would.
I'm assuming that we're gonna approve this budget tonight, right?
If you want, you don't have to, but it's usually approved at the AGM, but I think things are pretty set with the
No,
work
but I
plan
mean,
and
whatever we look at tonight is probably what's gonna
it'll be the
Yeah.
same thing.
be
Yeah.
approved, right? So,
Okay, we'll just leave it as is then for the first Wednesday in March, which I believe
Yeah.
is the 2nd.
Okay, good. Okay, now we can go on to secretary services. We have discussed the BIA street pole banner program. This is not the banners that are on that we've already purchased, right? We're going to talk about
Correct.
this. Should have come as correspondence. That's my mistake. It didn't get into the agenda correctly. So Trish is going to touch on it tonight, and then we will put it in as correspondence with all of the supporting documents that came with the correspondence for our next meeting, so that everybody can have a look at what was submitted to us by a member, actually, an idea to look at.
Okay, so one of our associate members had reached out to us because they are a business in another town, and they were wondering about us installing these. They're called BIA street pole banners because instead of having like a regular pole banner like what we have now with the Canada flag or our logo, businesses in the BIA are able to buy these banners that go up along the road. So we're talking about the Exeter BIA. So the Exeter BIA has the opportunity where businesses can purchase a pole banner with their logo and maybe their slogan, a picture, whatever they want. So the cost is $150 up front to buy these banners. And then it's $50 a year. And then aside from having our Remembrance Day and any other ones we might put up, they would typically have these up as a downtown feature. So the associate member mentioned that it goes all the way from Eric Campbell's down to Expressway down to Esso, which is a 2-kilometer run. So their idea of wanting us at the BIA and Mitchell here to talk about it is maybe if we had enough businesses interested, we could put them up on more than just our downtown poles. But the reason why it extends so far in Exeter is because that's actually their BIA. Their BIA runs from Eric Campbell all the way down to Esso gas station. So that's just why they run so far. So it's not something that we couldn't consider. We'd have to, follow the bylaw and see what poles we could enforce them onto, but it's just something they had there that runs a 2-kilometer stretch and was just suggested that maybe we could get businesses here to purchase if people were interested. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Sherry. That's just what I've got.
how big
Yeah.
are they? Are they?
Good question. They just say here that it's one banner every 3 poles. They look like the design artwork that was sent looks bigger than the banners that we have. So they I'll see if I can quickly pull up a picture. Like they almost look like they're like 2 feet long, 3 feet long. I don't know.
So they're not going to interfere with flowers or anything like that.
Or our pole wraps that we already have, they go up higher like a banner.
Yeah, and I think this picture is really zoomed out, but this is the one that they sent. So it's a really long pole banner, and I think it would probably conflict with either the light or our hanging baskets. Would be the idea. It goes up near the top. I just think it's pretty long.
Yeah, and are we going to have to purchase new things to mount them with? Like like the arms that we had to buy for the banners or something.
Yeah, it's gonna need I think it's gonna need a whole different set of hardware. So they're nice, they're gorgeous. Like I think that would be a wonderful addition, but they're big.
So what I think we will do from here is we'll just mull that over. We'll have Would you like Trish to forward just the attachments with the pictures and the descriptions to the board, or do we want to put it on the next agenda with all of that information so that we can discuss it
Yeah.
as a separate? You want to do it that way? It can wait.
To the next.
Okay. So we'll just, if everybody's okay with that direction for Trish.
It'd be nice to see them on, it'd be nice. I don't go to Exeter much, so.
I do.
Nice
So
I'll,
what I'll do is I'll reach out to our member that submitted it, and I'll get him to take some pictures
yeah, it's good
and
idea.
send it to him. I know he sometimes watches us, so if he's watching, he will know that I'm already going to ask him for that. So take a couple of pictures of what they look like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their website has them on there as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. Like, I think it could be universal to have. It's just, again, that's their whole BIA. That's why it goes so far. So anyways.
Okay. Okay. So we'll go. Yep. Jeff.
Can I take this opportunity to mention, Sherry, that Chair, that municipality is looking into a couple of things. We have 15 banner posts too. And you know, you do get a little worried about whether you start to cross the line to a bit of clutter. And so we have 8 Canada flags, and we've been doing 7 West Perth heron flags that are the white background with the heron logo, fairly crisp, but fairly plain. And staff have been directed by council to look at a couple of other options that might involve perhaps adding 1 or 2 either rainbow banners and or Every Child Matters banners. Now, I'll say to you, and I have to report back to council on this, staff are leaning towards the concept of using other ways to mark the month of June and the month of September for instead of rainbow banner and Every Child Matters banner. And we're looking at some other options for that, but we will be bringing some examples of banners that have that look to them to discussion. And I just start to worry big picture about how much clutter we have, and it's okay to have very colorful downtown. And I think everything would be not necessarily pastels. We would be all in base colors, but I think it's starting to get out there. So I'm just saying we can consider that as well when this comes back.
Okay. And I think that fits in well, Jeff, with we'll get it on the next agenda with photos of what it actually looks like. And we'll be able to keep in mind that we have our very colorful QR coded pole wraps, right? For the BIA as well, that will direct people right to businesses and to our BIA page. So we have that to consider, so we can put that all together as a piece. Okay. If there's nothing else on that, we'll move forward here to your work plan, Trish.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen again for viewers that didn't see the agenda go out. So this was in the agenda package that went out prior to the meeting. So again, every year we look at the work plan at our AGM. I'm bringing it forward now because I wanted to start the initial discussion of the different events that we may have in 2022. One thing I took from last meeting was that Bert had said, you know, we really should stick some dates to some of these events so people can pre-plan, you know, schedule staff, do what they need to do to kind of, well, to participate, because that's one thing that we do lack at times in different events is some businesses aren't participating. So basically, I guess if there's any questions, you can let me know. I've listed our projects out, which are projects that we've done in the past. Nothing was really new except maybe getting that ladies' night on the radar and having the sidewalk sale event coincides with the weekend after May 2-4. And we talked about having a sidewalk sale spring street party. So that was something I added this year. But I've kind of aligned it with the different dates as requested, and in hopes that we could pre-plan for the year. So is there any questions on the work plan?
I had something that your work plan just sort of made me think of. I don't know if this fits in here or not. Can I get you just to unshare your screen? Sorry, Trish.
No, it's
for
okay.
just a moment. Jesse Britton from the Heritage Culture. Sorry, I'm not sure the total committee off the top of my head. He reached out to me to see what we had on our radar coming up that his committee could be a part of. And I've said, of course, right at this point, nothing. So they're going to meet again in April. I wonder about how you guys feel about maybe not, I don't want to sound, not giving it to them, not because we don't want it, but because I think it's a better fit, the music in the park. And we become more of a supportive role in the music in the park, and we maybe support them through it with a little bit of money, a little bit of guidance. We share Trish with them to help them get started. And I wonder if we share that music in the park, if we're able to do it again with the cultural, I think it fits them a little bit better. I think we had a great idea because we really wanted to generate interest and people to realize that the BIA is more than just downtown businesses. It's people that live and breathe, live and work in your community. But how do you feel if I make that suggestion to Jesse before their April meeting, that we feel that this is a better, if you guys agree, that it's a better fit for them to spearhead, and we will, so like Trish is a commodity, we will share Trish with them for a little bit of time of her time on our cost, and we will maybe give some of our a little bit of our financial donation to help them get started. And just become a supporting role in the music in the park so that it doesn't die, but it's not really, it's great, but it's not really where we need to focus all the time and all of our energy.
No,
Is that the same committee that shared with us before?
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff, they sort of shared a little bit of volunteerism and they gave us a little bit of money towards it, but I wonder if we approach them about switching the role now.
Yeah, that's
Jeff.
the same committee. That's the same committee. They have a budget which they're working on using their budget towards a Lost Villages program. And we just had a meeting with them last week and talked about that budget. It's on their radar that they may be contributing some money to the music in the park, but I don't think they saw this coming, but it's fair enough. The committee chairs can chat about which committee it belongs in and how it's resourced. So
yeah, and I'm not saying that we're offloading it. I think it's a fantastic program. I think it maybe fits their committee a little bit more than it does ours. And I think how we could maybe support it is, like I said, is to give them a bit of Trish's time for us to help them and financial, and we do more of a work together or let them start to plan and we become the supportive role. It's whatever the board thinks. Maybe the board wants to keep it.
I think it's worth talking to them about.
Yeah, like
Okay.
fundamentally, it makes more sense for culture and heritage to be doing music in the park. Like just when you think about it, because the BIA is more so meant to be up here, right downtown. But if they don't want it, then like obviously, then we'd have to continue doing it, right? And
we keep doing it. But I think we're a good supportive role with helping, with Trish helping liaison the businesses with them to get financial support like we have in the past with the businesses, and Trish using her contacts and her connections and maybe giving them an hour every once in a while to just make it work for them. And that'll be part of our financial contribution, is that we share a little bit of Trish's time with them. So, okay, well, I'll have a conversation or email conversation with Jesse and we'll see where that lies. If everybody's okay with that, we'll move on. Just her work. What's that? Sorry.
Well, when we have our downtown stuff, we're always trying to figure out how to get people covering the whole downtown, and we have several heritage buildings, and maybe the Heritage Committee could actually come up with information that could be distributed during our street parties and that would actually get people to walk around the downtown and try to identify some of these buildings that are worth looking at versus trying to entice them down with free popcorn and stuff like that, just to get them out on the things.
Yep. I think that's a really great connection between the two of us as well.
So we do have a Heritage Walk flyer, which if anyone would like those, we have one case of them left. We probably should redo those. I think they were really well done and we just needed to promote them more. It highlights sort of single line drawings of the heritage buildings are beautiful. and then a story about each building, and it kind of sets up where you can walk to see them. Many of them are along Blanchard Street South, going from the main intersection of the gas station there going south. Those houses up on the hill are several of our heritage buildings. So in any event, so Heritage Committee is actually taking a look at their role on that, and that can come back to them as well from this committee.
Because even if they wanted to take a look at the Campbell collection and just show some historical functions, like how the Rose and Crown was once the gas station and a theater and stuff like that, that shows the combination of how our downtown has evolved. It may not be heritage buildings like the Hicks House, but I mean, at least it shows a history of what Mitchell has transitioned to. It just gives people another reason to walk downtown and say, oh my God, this was actually a gas station right in the middle of our street at one point. Anyway.
I think, and I'll chat with Jesse about that. I've written that on my notes here, and Trisha's, I know she's keeping minutes. And I think that, not to spend too much time on it, but I think that also, Bert, would really encompass bringing the library into more of what we do, working with the heritage and bringing some of that in with the library and asking them to join us. And I think I see a really big, as Jeff had said before, a larger audience with our business and economic development and getting the community more involved. But as you're talking, it makes me think the library could jump in there with, and we could make a lot of this street party stuff and that really focus on the heritage and the things for downtown. I think that's great. Thanks, Bert.
So Sherry, when you're talking to Jesse on our BIA website, we have a little tab that says our heritage.
Okay.
And it actually has the correlation of, what Culligan's building used to look like and what they now look like. And it's got comparisons of a number of the businesses downtown. It's all, okay. I think it's all from the Campbell collection, actually.
Okay. Perfect. I just sort of jotted that note quick.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. So if there's anything for Trish's, I lost my train of thought, guys. Sorry. Anything with Trish's work plan? I'm sorry to sort of jump that in there. When I saw your work plan, it just reminded me of that. I think that might be a direction so that your next work plan, we can take it off. Okay. Yeah. If there's nothing else. Yep. Go ahead.
At the bottom, I won't share the screen again, but at the bottom I had ongoing programs are the radio advertising, shop local campaigns. Those are things that we'll do. Another one that I'm pitching that you'll see on the budget later is running our BIA Bucks 10% discount year round. So I think we always kind of highlight that over Christmas. That's what our budget always, supports. And I think it might be a good use of some of our surplus is to let's promote it year round, offer that 10% off and see if we could entice people to buy and spend year round versus just over Christmas. So that's on there on the work plan as well.
Okay.
Now, do you want to vote on the work plan tonight, Sherry, or do you want to?
I know that we don't have to, but if it's okay with the board, let's vote on it tonight so that's out of the way for the next meeting. Is that all right with everyone? If there's no changes, additions, anything you want removed, added, we're okay with okay, so let's have a motion to accept Trish's work plan. Dustin and Heather, all in favor? Excellent, that's carried. Okay, we'll just do some housekeeping and cleaning up before we get to our big meeting in March. Okay.
Perfect.
Year-end financial update.
So I'll share again for those that didn't see the agenda in advance. I don't know if there's any questions. I'm going to point out just a couple of things and then you can ask questions. So our sponsorship and grant line has increased the revenue of $3,000. That was at 3,000 unclaimed BIA bucks. Since it's now sat for a year, we've gone and moved that into our revenue account, and then that'll just go into our surplus at the end of 2021 once they do our books. 2021 books have not been completed yet, so that's just something else to consider as we look at this tonight. Also, I was going to point out, we went over a bit in advertising as compared to what we budgeted, and that would be because the one invoice from, oh my goodness, ordering the BIA bucks, I put it under advertising this year. In previous years, it's always gone under that 10% discount expense line, and that's not been correct. So I put it under advertising. I brought it up to the board last month and no one wanted to move it. So it did push us over a little bit this year. And then our audit fee has entered into our budget. So there's your $300. And then the miscellaneous line was over budget the previous month. It's now all been moved into information technology where it should have been to begin with. Again, it went a little bit over budget as well this year because we had our renewal that we didn't account for of our website. And I think the phone, we didn't receive the full allocation of the phone in the previous year. So that's why those numbers are a bit skewed. And then the last one is we still haven't had our $5,000 hit our budget for the 10% off program. The treasurer, Wendy, has had a tough time trying to get a hold of the credit union. She has gone in, she has sent emails. So there's some reconciling that still has to be done for that. So that's kind of where we sit for now. Are there any questions on the budget?
Not the budget as per se, but just a reminder, we need to do the draw for the BIA bucks in the near future.
Yep, I have to go and get them. Does anybody have a particular date they want to do it by?
Next
think-
meeting.
Sooner rather than later?
So
No
when,
later than-
Sorry,
so
Bert.
when can people spend until? Like usually people had to buy by December 31st, spend by January 31st, and then we did the draw in February. So we
Right.
extended the buying till end of January. When do you want to extend the spending till to get in on the draw?
I would say the week before we do the draw.
So why don't we do the draw at our next meeting in March?
At the AGM?
If that's
Okay.
okay?
Sure, makes sense.
Okay.
All right, so then I'll jump into the draft budget if the board's okay with that. Just move on to the next one. All right, so the last piece here that I have is our draft 2022 budget. So in column 3, you'll see that we have actuals as of January 25th, which is the report that we just looked at. So I don't have to point anything out there. The only things I am going to point out in the 2022 budget are is that I increased the advertising cost category up to $10,000 from its previous $5,000 to allow for radio and any other advertising that we want to pursue. So that $5,000 would come out of our surplus. I increased our membership fee for OBIA by $30 because it goes up a little bit every year, about $30 a year. And then the project BIA bucks line, I've also increased that by $5,000. So we've never actually topped out at our full $5,000 or rarely have. So I would really like to propose that the board considers running this program year round, offering 10% off. And we would just pull the $5,000 out of our surplus to accommodate the extra to run it all year. And then the information technology line, again, because we went a little bit over budget last year, I've increased that by $300 as well to accommodate that increase. So those are kind of the changes I made. So it would be looking at pulling $10,330 out of our surplus, which is at $33,000 right now, plus the $3,000 under sponsorships and grants that will go into our surplus at the end of 2021. So super draft. But I think if we want to start using the surplus, I think this might be a good way to do it, extending our BIA bucks program and then allowing for more in advertising to dabble in different departments that we'd like. So that's just my thoughts. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
What if instead of doing the 10% year round, keep the Christmas is still a 10% using a 5% discount? Food for thought. Like, so that way you still have the significance of the Christmas campaign with a discount through the rest.
I apologize, guys. I got a jet here. Good meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin. That's actually an idea as well.
Well, it still gives you significance at Christmas, but you still get the benefits of buying them and using them local as well. With even a 5% discount, it's not phenomenal, but it's still an incentive to go that route.
I think it's really good food for thought here, because otherwise, what's the incentive of buying them? Other than us giving them away as gifts.
And that's that's some of the feedback that I've kind of received, or, you know, the BIA pages got messages or people have emailed that we don't offer it year round, and people don't want to buy them unless they're on sale. So what if we look at doing a different incentive program and starting to use some of our surplus in that respect?
Yeah.
Because then we're not necessarily tying it to any specific project, and we're not 100% bound to the budget. We can move stuff around throughout the year. So, I mean, I think it's a great starter, but
it's food for thought one way or the other. I think if it'll do it year round, I just thought maybe a tweak difference, but it's either way. I think it's just food for thought.
And can I add that, you know, just a suggestion too, I think a promotional approach for the BIA bucks is to promote to companies that want to give gifts to their staff or whatever, to do that with buying BIA bucks so that the gift stays in the community. I know the municipality has moved into that space, and I think there's some other companies that have done that as a program for Christmas recognition. So
yeah,
I think that's a good one for the BIA to promote. And the 5% other times of the year might just be that enough incentive, right? So it's a neat approach. So
I agree. I think that's a good idea, Bert. I think we need to make a reason for people to buy them other than at Christmas, a reason to give them other than us giving them away as gifts, which is great too. But
well, it can go both ways, because a business could still buy them and give them away themselves as an incentive too. So I mean, it's multiple ways. So is
that something we want to bring up at the AGM then?
I would say so.
Okay. So Trish, if we can move that to Dan for our next agenda for the AGM, if everybody's okay with that, we'll make that decision at the AGM.
So that increase in advertising, is that due to radio?
Like, it could be used for anything. I just suggested adding another $5,000, because if we do radio, you're probably looking at about $2,000.
Okay.
As a minimum starter, just based on what I've kind of looked at. And David said that usually businesses spend between $2,000 and $5,000. So it was just a number. And again, like, if we don't use it, we don't use it. Just goes back into our surplus.
Yeah, that's right. And then the salary increase, Trish, is that increased hours or increased wage or what?
I believe it's just the cost of living increase. It's gone up by it's gone up by 2,000 every year. The finance department gives me that number every year.
Good that somebody gets that.
So it's still 7 to 10 hours a week, but I always keep it to 7 hours, and only during the busier times will you see it kind of goes 8 to 10. And some weeks, if there isn't a lot to do, I don't put in the 7. So it does range, and I never really top out at that. So
right. Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the draft budget, guys?
I don't know if you want to approve that tonight or can approve that tonight. If you want to wait till the AGM, I'm not sure now.
I think the budget should be approved at the AGM, but I think the concept is there. I think we're good with, but I mean, the budget should be approved at the AGM.
I think that what we'll do is we'll just take it as information for right now, and we'll approve it because if we're going to make that extra 5% change as well at the AGM, I don't think that'll have a budget implication, but because you've already upped a little bit of what we have, but that'll give you a minute to check into it and make sure it's not going to be a huge budget implication.
Yeah. And I just actually received a message from someone that's watching tonight, and they really like that idea of doing 5% year round, Bert. So I think it's a good addition. Then you have more incentive over Christmas, but then some incentive year round to get them used. So that's great. Okay. That's all I have. I don't know if anybody has anything else for me.
So we'll just take the budget as information for right now. Is any new business? It's not on our agenda, but I'm going to add that. Anything that we've missed? It is under other business, but anything that we've missed? Nothing that it was sparked, anyone? Okay. Next meeting. What did we say the date was? March, sorry, March
It'll still be
2nd?
yeah.
March 2nd. And that's our AGM, and we'll approve the budget and we'll talk about the BA dollars and a few of the other little things. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Bert and Heather. All in favor? Bert and Heather. We're adjourned. We'll give Labitza a few minutes here.